Augusoft. Today we are joined by our bookkeeper, John Thew, who I have a couple questions for today. If you have any questions for John, feel free to leave a comment. And thanks so much for being here with us, John. Looking forward to chatting with you, and let's go ahead and get started.
All right, thanks, Abby. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday. What tools does Augusoft use for team meetings and project planning, and what do you like about them?
That's a great question, and the tools that we're using right now are Microsoft Teams, and it's not just for team meetings. It's really reflecting not only how the world's working today, but how Augusoft is working today. So we're a team-based organization. Obviously, we have departments, marketing, IT, customer support, finance, but then we also have teams within those teams that are working on projects. And Microsoft Teams, for anybody who's not familiar with it, is a virtual office, basically. So I can, at any time, stop into the customer support team and ask them a question about what's going on with a particular issue that they may be working on. I can check in with the IT team. I can be a member of all of these teams or none of the teams. But the Microsoft Teams allows us to converse just as we're doing here in Zoom virtually. I can also chat. I can share files. It really is a virtual office. And for that reason, I love it because I think we're all coming out of the days when we worked one-on-one. I mean, we worked in Outlook and we sent emails back and forth to one another. And Microsoft Teams is really about working collaboratively. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten an email saying, oh, does Ashley know about this? Or does Judy know about this? Whereas if you were working in Teams, Ashley and Judy would know about it because it would be part of the chat or they would have been included in the conversation one way or the other. So we integrate with Microsoft Teams an app called Microsoft Planner. And this enables us to keep track of all the to-dos and tasks that we're working on. And it automatically sends us reminders when the task is coming due. We can attach documents to the tasks so that we're all working from the same page, literally the same page. Those documents can reside in SharePoint or on OneDrive. So it really is an amazing tool. Microsoft has done a great job, and I don't work for them, never have, but they've done a really good job of moving from one-on-one workplaces to team environments. And fortunately, Jim Erdem, the owner of Augusoft, has embraced this wholeheartedly and is requiring all of us to work in teams. And I think people are embracing it.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I say the same. I mean, I think when I first started, as well as when you started, we obviously didn't, it used to be, what was it, Skype for Business, something that we used, which obviously didn't have all the same features and benefits. And I think Microsoft has come a long way. And I'm also appreciative that we're a company that they let us use Teams. And I communicate on Teams more and more every day, probably more than my cell phone. It's
right.
Just easier way to keep everybody in the loop.
Yeah, it brings everything together too. It brings my calendar together, my to-do lists, the chats, the conversations, all the documents into one portal. So I'm not jumping back and forth between different tools. I can work in one environment. And of course, now that we're in the middle of a pandemic, this has become very important. Almost our entire office is working virtually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And it's probably easier too if you're somebody that works with one monitor versus multiple monitors, because then, you just have your Teams app open and have the capability to go back and forth simply.
Right. And I can stop by somebody's office with just clicking on the video window and say, hey, I have a question for you. And we can get on a chat just like this and have a conversation about it. I'm a visual person, so it's easier for me to communicate that way. And I don't misinterpret emails or conversations the way I can in an email. It's like, oh, was she mad at me about that?
Right.
Um, or was she thrilled with my performance? I have no idea. But when I'm in the team environment and I can just chat live in a video conference, I know exactly what's going on, and I can take the temperature of the person I'm talking with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. All good stuff.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you today is you've been in the office a lot during the whole crazy stay-at-home order, which I know has been wild for you and for everybody. But wondering if you have a favorite spot on the Augusoft campus or just the building area
Yeah.
in general.
I have two favorite spots on the Augusoft campus, and I have them all to myself for at least the first 3 or 4 months of the year because nobody was coming here except for me. And by our campus, we share the office building with a bunch of other organizations. But there's a fitness center here on the premises that nobody's using, and the fitness center that I was going to was a public one, and I decided because of the pandemic, and the governor decided nobody was going to go to it, so I started using the fitness center here, and it's been a lifesaver. I mean, just making sure that I get exercise every day and keeping my mental state in check. So I have been coming to the office every day and starting my day in the fitness center. And then I do work in the office in the mornings and then work remotely from home in the afternoons. And now that the weather is nicer here in Minnesota, one of the other benefits of the Augusoft campus is we actually sit adjacent to a nature preserve that we have exclusive access to. Along with the residents who live around it. And so I've discovered that that is one of the most uh, relaxing 25 to 30 minutes that I can spend. So I've been coming in a little bit early in the mornings and walking around the nature preserve and, getting back in touch with, the sound of birds and frogs and crickets. And I can't tell you how many wild things there are there. So it's absolutely gorgeous. We're really blessed here at Augusoft to have not only a fitness center, but a nature preserve. Um, so
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you take advantage of those things because even though I told myself I was going to, I have maybe walked on that trail once and I've never used the fitness center.
yeah. Well,
So,
I would prefer that nobody uses the fitness center but me. There are 3 people here in the complex that are using it, and we have had conversations with one another about staggering the times that we use it so that we're not breathing on each other, and we all take our disinfectant wipes and our Purell, and so it's probably the cleanest place in the building, to be honest with you.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's good. And at least you guys are able to have, that communication and the other people that work out there are on the same page. So
Yeah.
awesome.
So the other great thing about that and Microsoft Teams, not to or to tie everything together, is I can take Microsoft Teams on my cell phone down to the fitness center and actually work on the treadmill because Microsoft Teams actually has an app. And so I can, respond to chats, or I can do a video call like this, or reference a document right there on my cell phone while I'm working
Great.
out. It's great.
Which is very nice, but at the same time, sometimes it's hard to get away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Thank you very much for sharing all of that information.
Yeah.
Um, if you have questions for John or anyone at Augusoft, please feel free to leave a comment below or send us an email at info@augusoft.net and we will respond to you as quickly as possible. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. We hope everyone has a great weekend and look forward to seeing you back here again next Friday. Bye.
Hi, Abby.